Why would a person want to meditate? So he says, meditation draws a person into Hashem's presence, to have a union with Hashem, to join up with Hashem, to be close to Hashem, as close as a person can get to Hashem. So the path to being close to Hashem, which we're going to see, is a positive mitzvah. The Torah says, Uldov kabo, you will cling to Him. How do you cling to Hashem? It's interesting, when my kids were small, I had a cousin visiting, and they would chase him around the house. They wouldn't leave him alone 1 minute. So he would call them Elmer's glue. You guys are like Elmer's glue. But that's exactly what we are meant to be. We are meant to be like Elmer's glue to Hashem. We are meant to cling to Hashem. We are meant to stick to Hashem. So it's important component of the ladder going up to God. The ladder going up to God is the ladder of the mind. It's very, very important. People don't realize that. The ladder going up to God is the ladder of the mind. And that's what, when we pray, that's what we're doing. Our minds are linked to Hashem, hopefully. When a person prays, they're engaging in meditating and getting closer to Hashem. So for many years, meditation has been a key discipline for people who want spirituality. And in fact, it is a pasuk in Tehillim, in chapter 16, Sheviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. David HaMelech says, I will place God in front of my eyes all the time. So the person is driving around, the person is walking around, always think Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yud Kei Vav Kei, as we have over here, Yud Kei Vav Kei. The person should think Hashem is linked to me. I want to link myself to Hashem. And that is a very, very powerful state in terms of getting closer to Hashem. And that is the first halakha in the Shulchan Aruch. According to the Ramah, the first halakha in the Shulchan Aruch is Sheviti Hashem lenegdi tamid ze klal gadol b'Torah. The Ramah comes along. So Shulchan Aruch says the first halakha is Yitgaber Kari. You will strengthen yourself like a lion to get up in the morning. Everyone here listening? You will strengthen yourself like a lion to get up in the morning. Well, you need to get up really strong. And the second halakha Rosh Ramah brings down is Sheviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. Always put Hashem in front of your eyes. What does that mean? Always think about Hashem. Try and think about Hashem, except in the bathroom, but otherwise else a person should think about Hashem all the time. And that is really what we're trying to do through concentration. Concentration, meditation is thinking about Hashem all the time, which we're going to talk about. And we talked about two different kinds of meditation. There's Hidbonenut and Hidbodedut. Hidbonenut and Hidbodedut. So there's Hidbodedut is seclusion, secluding oneself. And Hidbonenut is contemplation. So Hidbonenut is you can be among many people. Hidbonenut, you can think, thinking one's thoughts. And you're thinking inside about Hashem, that's Hidbonenut. Hidbonen is to reflect. You're reflecting on things. So reflecting can be, you can be in a car full of people in the New Jersey Transit, or in an airplane, and you're thinking your thoughts. That's Hidbonenut. And there's Hidbodedut, which is practiced by Breslov, whatever. They go into the fields, and they go into forests, and they seclude themselves. So the truth is, there's different kinds of seclusion. There's external seclusion, which is what they do, and there's internal seclusion. Now, even if you're among many people, you can cut yourself off. Some people have this way of mechanism inside of just focusing the mind wherever they are, and they're not distracted by anything. So a person can sit somewhere, even loud noise, and not be distracted. That's also Hidbodedut. It's kind of Hidbodedut. But Hidbodedut is just thinking. And in those days, mitzvot were performed in quasi-prophetic states. Speech and actions imbued with mystical intentions received by the masters through divine inspiration. So this goes back all the way to our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, the elders, Zakinim, the prophets, the sages, the Geonim, the Hasidim, and the Rishonim. And the early and later Kabbalists, the Arizal, the Baal Shem Tov, all taught this idea of attaching oneself to Hashem, attaching oneself to Hashem, and attaching oneself to the spiritual realms, which we're going to talk about. That's what meditation is all about. How to attach oneself to Hashem. How do you attach yourself to Hashem? And the key is through the mind. There's no other way. You can't attach yourself physically by holding on. You can attach yourself mentally, and through the mental attachment is the spiritual attachment. So that is the key. So there's no physical attachment because God is not physical. So how am I going to go and cling to God? And the answer is it's mental. It's totally mental. Mental. And the mental leads to the spiritual. And the Kabbalah talks about vessels. Everything has vessels. And we see this in the Torah, right? Where do we see vessels in the Torah? We see the Ten Commandments, right? Moshe Rabbeinu smashed them. What happened? The letters went up, whatever that means. The spiritual quantities went up. So the tablets were vessels. A human body is a vessel. Your cup of tea is a vessel, right? The contents inside it. The human body is a vessel. People don't realize it's a vessel. Right? So what's inside the human body? And the answer is many things. There's many different vessels. Every vein and every artery are vessels. They're all vessels. The heart is a vessel. The lungs are vessels. There's different things inside. But one of the things inside is the soul as well. Different parts of the soul, which we're going to talk about. So the soul inside a person can link to the soul, his soul above. Just like a plant. A plant has roots, and it has a plant. The plant's coming out of the roots. We don't see the roots. You see a massive tree, you don't see the roots of the tree. You see the person, but you don't see his roots. You can't even see his soul. But the soul has roots going up into the worlds above. So really, that's why the Etz Chaim is really a tree which is inverted. It's wrong. It's not going up, it's going down. The Etz Chaim is rooted in the worlds above, and the tree is coming down into this world. So we just see the thick parts of the tree, we don't see the roots of the tree. We don't see the spiritual roots of a person. So we all have spiritual roots. Everyone has spiritual roots, unless a person was chayav karet, which is a cutting off of the soul. The soul is cut off from the spiritual roots, but for that there's teshuvah. A person can do teshuvah and get back that heal, just like the person's body can heal, so also a person's soul can heal. Amazing. A person's soul can heal as well. Okay, so let's move on. We're on page 18, third chapter, third paragraph. Furthermore, the basic meditative state is an inevitable consequence of fulfilling mitzvah. This is amazing. A person does a mitzvah, it's inevitably going to lead to meditation. Well, not true. It should do. In those days, it was inevitable. A person did a mitzvah in those days, it would lead to a meditative state. Why? Because in those days, there was no OCD, and there was no ADD, and there was no, diversions, right? TV, radio, internet, phones. There was nothing. So what do? You're doing a mitzvah, you focus on the mitzvah. There's no sidetracks. There's nothing around, maybe a kid's around. That's about it. Or animals, or sheep. And so that's why most of our great prophets were all shepherds. They were shepherds, right? There's nothing around, nothing to disturb them, nothing to distract them. So in those days, when a person did a mitzvah, it was inevitable. Why am I doing a mitzvah? Why are you doing a mitzvah? I want to serve Hashem. You're serving Hashem. There's a covenant right there. That's going to link you to Hashem. The mitzvah itself is going to link you to Hashem. That's really what the purpose of the mitzvah is. The purpose of a mitzvah is to link a person to Hashem. The problem today is we do mitzvot without thinking. Our minds are not there. And the mind is where the soul, we said it's a vessel for the soul. So if the mind is not there, the soul is not there. Amazing. The body is doing the mitzvah, which is obviously very important. I'm not denigrating doing a mitzvah, obviously that's the main part. 60% or 90% is the mitzvah action itself. But the 10% is also very important. That 10% is really a key to reaching high levels. And most people don't have that 10%, and therefore they don't reach the high levels. Very simple. So let's say an example. The most important example, Kiddush. What are you doing when you're making Kiddush?
You're praising
God.
You're praising God for
Sanctifying Shabbat. Or the holy day, whatever day it is. Mekadesh HaShabbat. Sanctify Hashem. You're blessing God for sanctifying Shabbat. We're announcing that we're blessing God who sanctifies Shabbat. So he's sanctifying. Say a person his mind is not even into sanctifying. He's thinking about a car, he's thinking about sports, and he's saying, Mekadesh HaShabbat. So how do you sanctify something? What power do we have to sanctify? It's amazing. A human being has the power to sanctify things. You can come along and say, this is holy to the temple. This table is holy to the temple. It becomes holy to the temple. I have to give it to the Bet HaMikdash. Or I can redeem it for the Bet. But the power of the speech is powerful enough to make it holy. But obviously, a speech by itself with no thought, it's missing something. The rabbis say, Tfilah bli kavanah, keguf bli nashama. Prayers without intentions is like a body without a soul. So it's amazing. It's amazing. So same thing, a person does a mitzvah, but there's no thought behind it, which is very, So in those days, a person did a mitzvah was inevitable. And that's why the Mishnah and the Talmud do not talk about it. It's obvious. You're doing a mitzvah. Obviously, it's going to lead you to spirituality. It's going to lead you closer to Hashem. It's obvious. Regrettably, in today's cyber age, a person does a mitzvah, it's more mechanical. That's our problem. Problem is, our minds are not there. It's very mechanical. Mitzvot tzrichot kavanah. Yeah. A person needs to have kavanah when they do a mitzvah. What kavanah do they need? What's the basic, limited intention they need when a person does a mitzvah?
To know that they're doing it for God?
Exactly. We're doing it because God commanded. That's a mitzvah. A mitzvah is a command. I have to know I'm doing it because of God's command. That's the minimum thoughts. But again, once you say God, that's it. You're linked. It links you. I'm doing it because God said to do it. That's why we say the bracha. The trouble is, we don't, we're in America. Hebrew is our second language, not our first language. So first say, Baruch Atah Hashem, what did I say? I don't even know exactly what I said. I don't really focus on the words because it's in Hebrew. But it has some effect. There's no question it has an effect. But there's not enough thought into it. That's the problem. It's more mechanical. Even saying the bracha is more mechanical. So what happens is, the Hasidim added l'shem yichud, added a prayer before the bracha. And the great rabbi, the Rabbi Yehuda, who was a great famous Ashkenazi rabbi, he says, what's the point? Just like we say the bracha mechanically, we're going to start saying l'shem yichud mechanically. You can add 5 pages ahead. What difference does it make? Everything's going to become mechanical eventually. You just get used to saying something over and over again, become like a parrot. So it becomes mechanical. So a person's going to think the bracha is very limited. It's a very short bracha. Just think about it. What am I saying when I say the bracha? It's so hard to focus and say it properly. It's so hard because we're busy. We're running. We're doing this. We're doing that. And we have other things to do. Person says, let me say this bracha. Let me do something else. But in the meantime, they're walking and they're talking and they're looking and seeing and doing. So performance of mitzvah is meant to uplift the physical. We're meant to transform the material into spiritual by doing a mitzvah. When a person does a mitzvah, a woman lights a Shabbat candle. She just took the wax and she sanctified it. She raised that into holy light. She changed that physical article into holy light. Amazing. It's amazing. The power we have to transform the material to spiritual. So Hashem, He took the spiritual and made it into material. Think about it. Hashem created the world. All the physical matter. Where did it come from? And the answer is He used spiritual energy to make physical matter. E equals MC squared. He used energy to make matter. We have to take the matter and turn it back into not physical energy, but spiritual energy. That's tremendous power. Tremendous power. Okay. So it's very important to anchor Hashem's presence through thought, Torah learning, and prayer. We have to anchor it into ourselves. When a person prays, we're trying to link ourselves to Hashem. But the trouble is that thought goes away when a person finishes praying. Our job is trying to embed it into us, anchor it with us so it doesn't go away. A person does a mitzvah. A person is meant to anchor ourselves to Hashem. The trouble is, you finish the mitzvah, it goes away. That thought goes away. So how do you keep that thought going? And that's the answer is we have to anchor ourselves into Hashem all the time. And that's where the custom where it came to wear yarmulke, tzitzit especially. I was just thinking about it yesterday. Think about it. What does the Torah say? Bassous lachem tzitzit al kafeh bidehem. What for? Leman tizkiru et Hashem elokechem. You will have tzitzit on the corners of your garments in order to you'll remember the Leman tizkiru et Hashem and kol mitzvotai. To remember all the commandments I gave you. Hashem says. So it's just a reminder. All these things we need reminders all the time. We're forgetful. Hashem says, I'm going to give you reminders. Person passes the mezuzah. There's a beautiful Rambam. The Rambam says a person has to have an interaction with the mezuzah. What kind of interaction? A spiritual interaction. Hashem's name is here. Unfortunately, we can't see Hashem's name. People put a shin on the outside. Why don't we put Hashem's name sticking out? Because on the outside of the mezuzah, there's shin daled yud. It's written on the back of the mezuzah. It's amazing. On the back, on the front, you have the Shema. First 2 paragraphs, and on the back you have Shin Daled Yud written on the back. And when you roll it up, that Shin Daled Yud is meant to be exposed. But we cover it today. Why do we cover it today? Because just in case there's nakedness, there's other things, you're changing a diaper or whatever, so we cover it with a. But ideally, if there's no nakedness around, it's in a place you get a cover which is transparent, and see the Shin Daled Yud this way. So what we do today is we put the Shin on. There's a Shin printed on the box. That Shin is meant to remind you of the Shin Daled Yud, Hashem's name. A person is meant to have an interaction with Hashem every time you pass the mezuzah. A lot of people just kiss the mezuzah. That's good. But to interact and just take a time and say, Hashem is here, Hashem's presence is here, Hashem is watching me, that's really what we're meant to do. Again, we're trying to anchor Hashem into us. When a person learns Torah, why are we learning Torah? So the answer again, we're trying to anchor Hashem into us. We learn the words. We're going to talk about Hashem. The Torah is not revelation from Hashem. The Torah is revelation of Hashem. It's not a revelation Hashem gave to us. It is Hashem itself. Hashem's mind. It's Hashem's mind. He's revealing to us His mind. How do you know what a person's mind is? You see what he's saying. That's his mind. The person revealing to us his mind. He's revealing to us who he is. David HaMelech says, Achat she'alti met Hashem. It became a nice song. Hasidic song. Achat she'alti met Hashem, ot avakesh, shifti ved Hashem kol yemei chayai. There's only one thing I have to ask from Hashem. It's amazing. How do you limit your prayers to one thing? Achat she'alti. Only one thing I ask from Hashem. That's the only thing I ask from Hashem. Obviously he's getting old. He's older, I think. He's only asking for this one thing. What does he ask for? Shifti ved Hashem kol yemei chayai. I just want to dwell in the house of God all the days of my life. Lachazor b'noam Hashem. To see the beauty of Hashem. It's very hard for us to contemplate. What is he really asking for? He wants to see the beauty of Hashem. How do you see the beauty of Hashem? How can a person see the beauty of Hashem? And the answer is, we say in the Birkat Kohanim, Ya'er Hashem panav elecha v'barika. Hashem will shine His face on you. And that's what David HaMelech wants. He wants that shining face. And that's Olam Haba, Rambam says. The Tzaddikim will be there, and the Hashem is the countenance of the Shekhinah, whatever it is. This energy will be radiating to them. That's what it means. What does that mean? That is only available through meditation. Only available through meditation. Rabbeinu Yonah of Gerona, who wrote Shari Tshuva, he places meditating to gain awareness of Hashem on a par with prayer and Torah learning. Amazing. So as you're learning Torah is to gain awareness of Hashem, meditating to gain awareness of Hashem is on the same level as learning Torah. Prayer is in order to gain awareness of Hashem, so therefore meditating to gain awareness of Hashem is also the same level as tefillah. Amazing. Okay. I just want to move, yes.
Is
I left. Switch on my
faith
machine.
and clinging to Hashem something that is given to us, or something that a person works toward? Because
Let me tell you, we talked about this earlier. It depends how pure a person's vessel is. Some people are created with pure vessels, right? Let's give a case, right? You have have you ever driven with a dirty windshield? Right. So the windshield is dirty. You're limited to how far you can see. Now, obviously, the cars are created brand new. So the windshield is brand new. It's clean. There's no specks and there's no little pieces of little holes and pits into the windscreen, right? But human beings, it depends on how clear our vessels are when we're created. So some people are created with beautifully clear vessels, depending on the thoughts of their parents when they're created, and the women go to the midnidah when they're careful with other things and what's going on. Other people are created with terribly dirty vessels, and the soul cannot see through these vessels, and the link between God and that person is limited through that dirt. Other people are created with fantastic ones. They're naturally spiritual. They're born spiritual. It's amazing. Moshe Rabbeinu was born, it says, you could see the light. It says the whole house was filled with light, it says. He was born and the whole house was filled with light. He was born spiritual. Can I answer your question? So some people are born naturally spiritual. Why? What do you mean natural spirit? It's not naturally spiritual. Everyone has a soul. It's just their vessels are pure. They're created pure vessels. So they have the ability to see through the vessel.
is that the desire to cling to Hashem? Is that what you mean by spiritual? Or
I mean that they have this inkling, yes, that there is Hashem, a strong inkling there is Hashem. They know for sure there's a God. They're born with this thought that there's a God and God is their friend and God is who they want to be with. I have a brother like that. I wasn't born like that. My brother was definitely born like that. Very, very early age. I mean, I never see anything like it. I never see anything like it, honestly. But it happens sometimes. These are the lucky few. But they have more responsibilities because they have less Yetzer Hara. So much more responsibilities, but it's not a cop-out, but I'm just saying. They have. But, you're born spiritual from a very early age. These are special children. And sometimes it can happen afterwards. We're going to talk about two prophets, Habakkuk and Yonah. Right? Yonah was revived by Eliyahu Navi, we just talked about on Shabbat, and Habakkuk was revived by Elisha. Amazing. And after that, they both become prophets. So another experience during one's life can make a person very spiritual. A person goes through a trauma or whatever, and they're attached to Hashem through the trauma. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, through learning and desire and prayer, one can clean their neshama.
100%. And that's the purpose. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to clean, not the neshama is clean. Elokai neshama shenatata bi Torah. God, the neshama you gave me is pure. So we're trying to clean our vessels. We're trying to clean the spiritual, the vessel, the levush, the garments of the soul. That's who we are. We're the garments. We're the interface between the body and the soul. We're the garment of the soul. If you can clean your garment, that's you. How do you clean a garment? The answer is, what the garment says, character traits. Who are our garments? What is our dirt? A person's jealous, a person's mean, that's the garments. How can you see the soul? How can you see God? A person has to clean the garments. A person's got to be a nice person, a good person, a giving person, a gentle person. It's very hard to be pure. It's very hard to be. A person's got to purify. That's what Vilna says. The whole purpose of a person in this world is to fix their character traits, because the character traits are the levush of the soul. It's the garments of the soul. If you have a pure garment, then you can see through. You can start connecting. And that's how you can tell how spiritual a person is. By their midot. If the person's bad midot, and he puts on things, I can see the future, but he has bad midot. What kind of, like Bilam, right? What kind of spiritual person is that? He's cursing and abusing and this and that, and he's spiritual. Yeah, he's not spiritual at all. Okay. Okay, so that's the crux, he says, of Jewish meditation, is to get close to Hashem. Get close to Hashem. That's really the key. What do you want to meditate for? So it's very new age. I want to meditate. What for? I want to reduce my stress. Very good. That's not Jewish meditation. Jewish meditation may raise your stress, because when you get closer to Hashem, your heart starts to palpitate. It's scary. You're getting into rarefied atmosphere. We find the Jews got close to Har Sinai, all their souls left them. They just couldn't. Moshe, we can't take anymore. You talk to us. We can't take this revelation. It's just too much for us. So Jewish meditation is not a relaxation sport. It's a mechanism by getting close to Hashem. If you want to relax, it's not Jewish meditation. So Jewish meditation combines thought, which is purposeful. You want to connect. And passionate yearning to get close to Hashem. And that's the problem today. How many people really want to get close to Hashem? We have to ask ourselves, how close do I want to get to Hashem? It's a scary thought, How close do I really want to get to Hashem? Do I want to get 10%, I'll take a few steps forward and then take a few, like we do in the Shemona Esrei. I'll take 3 steps back or 3 steps forward and then I'll go back at the end. It's scary. It is scary. It's scary. How many people could go all the way? And you're not allowed to go all the way. It says only the 70 elders plus Aaron, Nadav, and Avihu were allowed halfway up the mountain. Moshe was the only one going up the mountain. You're not allowed to go up the mountain. You get burnt. Person get burnt. So we can only go partially. But how far do you want to go? We see Nadav and Avihu want to go all the way. They wanted to go all the way. They wanted to the Holy of Holies, and they wanted to bring incense, they wanted to do everything. Their passion was tremendous. They had tremendous passion. It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous.
His, was it Aaron's sons?
Yes. 2 sons.
His 2 sons?
2 older sons. He had 4
Is that
sons.
how they passed?
Yeah. He had 4 sons, 2 older sons. They wanted to get close to Hashem. We want to get close to Hashem. But how close do you want to get? I mean, it's scary. It's a scary thought. Hashem Elokeim, Esh Ochla. It's a fire that devours. Hashem, it devours. Obviously not everyone. If you're not clean, you're not clean. It's going to finish you off. But it's got to be clean and pure. And then get invited. Because you can go as far as you can go. And then Hashem says, okay, now I want you closer. I'm going to draw you closer. Well, Hashem will say, that's as far as you go. That's it. So it depends on the person. Depends on the purity of the person. Depends on the strength of the person. We talked about all the 10 lists, 10 qualities to be a prophet. We talked about that. So, what are we trying to do? We're trying to fulfill this mitzvah, Uldov Kabo. Torah says, Uldov Kabo, in Devarim chapter 11, writes down, Devarim chapter 11, it says, to cling to God, verse 22, chapter 11, verse 22, it says, to cling to God, Uldov Kabo, cling to God, cleaving, Tevekut, we said like glue. How does a person cling to God? You can't cling to him physically. And the answer is cerebral attachment. Cerebral attachment. We have to try and link our minds to Hashem. Okay. So, a person's got to spend time doing this. Only through regular effort can a person do this. And that's what meditation is all about. Try to find a regular time to cling to Hashem. To cling to Hashem. So this can be in all off hours. The advantage is you can be anywhere, anytime. You have a few minutes here, a few minutes there. You can spend time on Dvikut. So how Dvikut? So a person can say Tehillim, a person can learn Torah, a person can do mitzvot, or a person can just think, Hashem, I want to be close to you. Should be the Hashem Nigdi. I'll think Yud Kev Avke. We talked about, we gave the meditation last time. Now there's a beautiful pasuk. David HaMelech says, and this happens to be a pasuk which I know very well because it's my pasuk of my name. It's in Psalm 105, verse 4 for David. Every David says this pasuk, Dirshu Hashem ve'uzo bakshu panav tamid. Dirshu Hashem ve'uzo bakshu panav tamid. It starts with a dalet, ends with a dalet. That's how your pasuk. Your pasuk starts with the first letter of your name and ends with the last letter of your name. Right? So you're meant to find that pasuk. You're meant to say it every time you say Shemona Esrei, the end of Shemona Esrei, because it says when a person is being judged, when he dies, or she dies, the first question is, what's your name? The person says, I don't know. I'll beat the guy. Chibuta kever. What's your name? I don't know. The person will be so scared. But if they say this pasuk, we'll come back to them. It's a segula, I don't know. This is a segula. It's not halakha, it's a segula. It's a segula, which means a good thing to do. So ArtScroll has a list over there. Rabbi Toledano over there is the Sephardic prayer also has a list of all this psukim for all different names. So you find your pasuk and say it every time at the end of the Shemona Esrei. So this happens to be my name. Seek Hashem and His strength. Very good question. Hashem and His strength. What is Hashem? What is His strength? Hey, what's going on over here? Seek Hashem and His strength. Dishu Hashem ve'uzo. Seek Hashem and His strength. Bakshu panav tamid. Look for His face all the time. So you have God, you have His strength, and you have His face. What's going on? So that's something which we have to do, is search for Hashem all the time. So, a mitzvah without dveikut, without this meditative action, doesn't have life. A mitzvah without meditative action doesn't have life. So we need to combine the mitzvah. We need to combine the Torah with the thought behind it. We need to combine the meditation with the thought behind it. So what is His strength? So there's a note over here, 7b. It's amazing. In 32. Yeah. According to Kabbalah, His strength is a metaphor for the divine presence, or the Or Ein Sof, the light of the Infinite One, which is there's the energy of God. The energy of God. His strength is the energy of God. While beseeching the face of God, which is His manifestation, so you have the 13 midot are the face of God. What can a person see about God? How can you see God? And the answer is, you can't see it. There's no saying you see. We can see God's traits. The only things we can get close to God is through His traits. What are His traits? The 13 traits. We say every day now, tefillah. Kel, Rachum, V'chanun, Erech Apayim, and so on and so forth. 13 traits. That's God's face as far as we're concerned. Does God have a face? No. But He has these things that we can sort of link to. That's His face. The 13 attributes are the closer we get to Him. So what is His strength? His strength is the energy of God that we can tap into. If we can tap into the energy, that's called the Or Ein Sof, the light of the Ein Sof. In Kabbalah, God has no name, because God is above names. It's an amazing idea. There's all these names are vessels. You have energies inside the vessel. So that's why there's 7 different names of God, which cannot be erased. Each one is a different vessel for different things. They don't really describe God. You can't describe God. He's above description. So it's basic. Hayah, however, He's above time. It's a negative. It's not a positive. It's a negative. All we can say about God is a negative. So the main term they use is Ein Sof, limitless. God is limitless. That's God. How do you describe God? He's limitless. Very good. What does that describe? Limitless. But God's energy, that's His strength. And God's face is His attributes. 13 attributes. And even then the Rambam says, God has no attributes. That's what he tells Moshe. Show me your face. Lo yirani ha'adam v'chai. A living person cannot see my face. Even the attributes are not my face, but it's the closest we can get to it. That's all we can do. The closest we can get to it is through the attributes. That's it.
It says he saw the face, right?
Hmm?
He saw the front.
Who?
Moshe.
He spoke face to face. Did he see it? No. He spoke mouth to mouth. He spoke mouth to mouth. What does that mean? He didn't see it. He spoke mouth to mouth, which means a very close contact. Speech, which means he was in very close communication. That's really what it means. Mouth to mouth means close communication. God has no mouth. So it's all mental. It's all mental. Okay, so what are we trying to do? We're trying to train our ego. That's the hardest thing. A human being is like a rider on a horse, a wild horse. Our bodies and the egos are wild horses. They're crazy. They're lunacies. They're crazy. You can see people, they're crazy. If you don't tame that horse, it's mad. The horse is mad. You see kids sometimes, they're crazy. You have to tame them. You have to, right? I have kids in my class. I can't believe it. Little kids. You can't. Obviously, the parents are not taming them. The teacher's not taming them. Who's going to tame them? I don't know. They're going to be wild. In Yiddish, they have a wilde chayat. They're going to be wild animals. They're going to be growing up wild. I don't know. They're growing up wild. But all of us have this wildness inside us. You have to realize that. All of us have this wildness inside us. That's what Pirkei Avot says. Al ta'amin be'atzmecha ad yom motcha. A person should not trust in themselves until the day of their death. And even then, I mean, till the person is dead, basically. That's what it doesn't mean the day of your death, until the day you're dead already. Because even then, our minds are wild. So even though a person is dying, their mind can be thinking of something which is totally forbidden, or totally, I wish I had more fun in this world. I wish I did this. I wish I waste my time. He could be doing teshuvah from his good deeds, or he could be doing teshuvah from his bad deeds. So a person should not trust themselves. We can't trust ourselves. We're wild. We're created wild. The body is wild. It's a wild horse. The ego is wild. It's a wild horse. You have to realize that. So we have to tame it all the time. The Yetzer Hara says, no, don't do this, don't do that. It's not really Yetzer Hara. It's coming from the physical side of man. It's the material aspect of man, which is pushing a person down, pulling a person down. And the spiritual side try to pull the person up. And the person in the middle, torn both sides. Boom, which way shall I go? So we have to train our ego to resonate with the soul. Work with the soul. Work with the soul. Pay attention to your soul. Help your soul. Right? And it says, David HaMelech would call his soul Biti, my daughter. Talk to me, my daughter. What do you want, my daughter? What a beautiful way. My daughter. Who's your daughter? My soul. My soul is my daughter. You would talk to his soul. And that's what brings a person to meditation through prophecy. Because all the messages come through the soul. A person links to God through the soul. So we have a little bit of a soul in us. We have to try and link to the worlds above, to the souls that are higher level, and talk to the soul. To make us person aware that the ego should resonate with the soul. To be party to the soul's perception of Hashem. The soul can see Hashem. We can't see it because we're not linked to our souls. Our souls are up there. We can't see it. We don't feel it. We have to link to our souls. Sometimes we link to our souls. And then you feel the energy coming into you. You should be able to feel the energy coming into you. Okay. So in time, he says, physical consciousness begins to comprehend spiritual actuality. And that's the key. That is really when you know you're really up there already. When you have you have the spiritual reality, and you can be aware of it through your physical senses. You can be aware of spirituality through your physical senses, you know you're nearly there. Boy, that's high level. That's a very high level already. So everyday action and speech becomes mindful and focused. The divine light, masked by the ego, will then be experienced as palpable reality, more real than corporal existence. Wow, obviously this is a very, very high level. And if you get up to that level, you know you're on a very high level. So we have to remember all the time that our thoughts really are the key to turning on, like the car. So mitzvah is like a car. If you don't switch it on, it's not really alive, right? It's not really on fire. The thoughts are the thing that switches the mitzvah on. You're doing the mitzvah. The car is there. The vessel is there. You've got to switch it on. How do you switch it on? Through the mind. The minds turn it on. So obviously, the main part of the mitzvah is the actual deed. There's no question about that. However, a mitzvah is greatly improved when accompanied by the correct thought. The meal offerings in the temple. We talked about this morning, right? The mincha, korban mincha. Whenever you bring a korban, you have to bring a mincha offering. What's a mincha offering? Flour and water. Flour and olive oil. So that's called the korban mincha. And it's called a sweet savor to Hashem. What does that mean? That means, the Gemara says, in Menachot, it's the same whether the person offers a little or a lot, as long as he directs his heart to heaven. The sweet savor to Hashem is the heart of the person. The thought of the person is a sweet savor. Hashem smells. Reach nichoach. Ah, what a beautiful smell. Hashem smells. What do you mean he smells? He's not smelling. He's seeing the person's heart. Seeing that's what gives Hashem pleasure. Person's heart gives Hashem pleasure. Okay. When we study Hashem's word, meditate on and fulfill His precepts, we embrace a soul identity unified with God's will. Okay, that's a very high level. So our soul is unified with God's will. When you're doing a mitzvah, your soul is unified with God's will. He says it's a very high level. There are 5 levels to the soul. 5 levels to the soul. There's the nefesh, which is the lowest. There's the ruach, which is the next level up. So nefesh basically is the soul that just gives life to a person. So a person in a coma has a nefesh, because they're basically alive, hopefully. Heart's beating, they're breathing. But they don't have the next level, which is the ruach. The ruach is the ability to talk. So that's the next level. The higher level is the neshama. So nefesh, ruach, neshama. And that's the maximum you can attain in your body. The neshama gets in your body, that's it. Most people don't even have a neshama. Most people don't even have the different levels. See, each part of it is split into 3 as well. So you have the nefesh, ruach, neshama of the nefesh. You have the nefesh, ruach, neshama of the ruach. You have the nefesh, ruach, neshama of the neshama. And you keep splitting it. There's no end to how much you can split. And above that are 2 auras around us, which are parts of our soul which can't come in the body. They're called the chaya and the yechida. The chaya and the yechida. So those are the parts that are going to link us to the worlds above. Those are the parts that link us to the worlds above, because they are above. They're the roots of our soul. They are the roots of the soul. So when a person has thoughts leading up to God, they're really going up that chain through his chaya yechida. So now he is unifying his lower soul with his upper soul, with those thoughts. So when we study Hashem's words, we meditate on His mitzvot. We unify with Hashem's will, and that level is called yechida. So we just got to this level of yechida. So unifying with God's will. How do you unify through God's will? What's your link to God's will? And the answer is your soul, which is the highest level soul, is linking you to God's will.
How do you spell those 2 upper souls?
Chaya. Chet, Yud, Hey. Chaya, Yechida. Yud, Chet, Yud, Dalet, Hey. Yechida. So Chaya is living, which is Nefesh Chaya. And Yechida is unity, one. Yachid, only one. What do you think? What are you talking about? What is Kabbalah? Kabbalah is the spiritual physics, not the physical. So doctors could see the body, but they can't see beyond that. That's when the Kabbalists come along. I'll tell you, hey, you're right, the guy is dead, but his soul is still here.
Right.
And according to Kabbalah, the person's soul never leaves the person. And that's what gives the power of resurrection. There's a little drop left behind in that loose bone, whatever it is. There's a loose bone and a little drop of the person's nefesh is inside there.
Wow.
And it's called Chabla de Garmi, which Hashem will use later on for the resurrection. So as long as you have a little bit left, everything will reattach. It's the umbilical cord for the reattachment.
Yeah. So there's an exception, isn't there?
There's always exceptions. But that's
So-
why it says, the Sudar Revit feeds that bone. Your Malav Malka will feed that bone. What does that mean? Because the Malav Malka is the end part after Shabbat leaves. There's a little bit of Shabbat left in the Malav Malka. So when you build up that little part of the Malav Malka, you're actually building up your own also. Your whole holiness which is left at the end. So that's the linkage between Malav Malka and the bone. There's a big linkage as well.
So
Okay.
I was just going to say, so today is the anniversary for the liberation of
Yes,
the
Holocaust Day, yes.
So I was thinking in terms of, I know it's a very morbid thing, but I lost family
Yes.
that were burned.
They'll come back, don't worry. Not everybody
So,
worries.
I mean, I'm sure other
I know.
people. So what happens in that case?
In that
So how
case,
does
they'll
it-
come back. Somehow Hashem will bring them back. I've no idea. They'll come back. There's no question. I've no doubts about it. They'll come back. How do we know? Because we see the Ezekiel's vision of the dry bones. The valley of Dura. Hashem says, will these bones live? And he says, if you want them to live, Hashem, of course they'll live. Hashem says, okay. Let them tell them to get up. Imagine. God says, get up.
Really?
And the bones start reattaching. See all the different organs come together. It's amazing prophecy. We've seen it. I mean, we haven't seen it physically, we've seen it metaphorically. Straight after the Holocaust, state of Israel. I mean, it's a miracle. The dead bones come alive again. Okay, but we're going to see the actual bones come alive. Even the bones which are gone, which are destroyed, they'll come alive again. You watch. But Israel Hashem will see it. It's just going to be very spooky. I'm just warning you, okay? You start hearing noises in the graveyard. But we know the Midrash says that all the bones will go underground to Israel to get up.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing. It's one of the reasons why Rashi brings down the reasons why Yaakov did not want to be buried in Egypt. So one of the reasons is he didn't want his bones to have to travel underground, right? Remember that? So there's going to be bones subways going underground, which is painful apparently. That's why some people want to be buried in Israel, this way they get up without any problems going underground. And so that's the advantage of being buried in Israel. Also, v'chiper admato imo. The land of Israel has the power to atone. Amazing. A person buried in the land of Israel, it's holy land. It atones for a person. Amazing. V'chiper admato imo. So today what they do is they put a little bit of Israeli earth on a person's eyes, at least, in the casket. And you pay a little bit of extra for that. That's a little perk. And Israeli earth, they put it on the list.
Is it so his kids were there?
Yes. Okay. So that's the power of learning Torah, that's the power of doing mitzvot, but only if you think about it. If you think, I'm trying to connect to God through this. That's very important. That's a critical thing. A person's got to think, I'm wearing my tefillin, I'm trying to connect to Hashem. I'm wearing my talit, I'm trying to connect to Hashem. I need Hashem's help. I need Hashem's energy. I need Hashem's power. I need Hashem's protection. Every time you need Hashem, Hashem says, that's good. I like it. I like that. Hashem likes it. Just like when you need your parent. I mean, I don't like it anymore, but it gets to a point where but Hashem loves it. Hashem wants it. Hashem wants to be needed, like any good Jewish mother. Jewish mothers love to be needed, right? Is it wrong? Right or wrong? I don't know. Usually, I don't generalize. Okay. A Jewish mother will give you her heart. She'll give you everything she has. And take it. Take even if you don't want it. Take it. Okay. So that's the key to linking to Hashem. That's the key to linking to Hashem. And that's, a person meditates about it. It's now they're focusing. They concentrate on it. I want to get closer to Hashem. Not just when I'm doing mitzvot. Not just when I'm learning Torah. Not just when I'm praying. I'm meditating on it. So today you can be driving a car and listening to a Torah tape, but if you also think, I'm linking to God through this Torah. So today you can buy tapes of Tehillim. You can listen to Tehillim on your drive. It's amazing what you can do today. Okay, now look at this. This is amazing paragraph over here. We're on page 22 over here. The Shekhinah can elude even the followers of this divine path if they are oblivious to the inner spirit. Person doing mitzvot, he's learning Torah and everything, and God is eluding him. Why? Because the soul's not in it. The mind's not in it. The intention is not in it. So it's all mechanical performance. The guys pray because it's mechanical. He's learning Torah mechanically. He's not trying to link. This is not taught in yeshiva, by the way. This idea of linking to God is not taught anywhere. You don't hear this at all. But if you're smart, you'll pick it up. Because you see it. You see the rabbis in front of you trying to do it. What are they doing? They're praying. You see they're trying to link with something. They're trying to connect. A person's going to try and connect. And that's the key. So a person to meditate, to think and connect. That's the key. And that's what David HaMelech says in Divrei Yamim. Know Hashem, the God of your father, and serve Him. Before you serve, know Hashem, the God of your father. The purpose of serving is to know Hashem. That's the purpose of serving. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Any questions? Any other questions? Okay. Stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you for coming. Indulging me.
Thanks.
Rabbi Chanina Makasha, Amir Atzakadosh Baruch Hu, Lezvaz Avian Jat Watch Ne'amar.